What's going on, YouTube?
Welcome back to the Gala Empire.
And we hope you guys got a lot accomplished.
In today's video, guys, we will be breaking down our experience as coaches on the breakdown of women's basketball in high school. I feel like that's going to be a big change. Anything that you feel?
I feel like the high school culture is definitely coming up when it comes to sports. A lot of recruits, a lot of everybody's looking at the high school level right now, compared to what it used to be, college.
Yep, and I'm super excited to break all the details down to you guys. But if you are new to the channel and if you love sports in general, please don't forget to
like, comment, subscribe, so you could be post notified every single time we post content. We're trying to go hard on the content for you guys. So comment down below also what you want to see from us. If you've been watching, we appreciate you.
Yep, but let's get right into it. All right, guys, we're jumping right into it. So first things first, as coaches going into the women's space, this was very new to me. I never really experienced women basketball until to this year. It was a lot of challenges that I came across and that I never understood because I was always on the basketball and the men basketball side. But let us know what you think, because since you was playing in that.
I always felt like getting on the court, there's always a lack of women. Whether you go outside, play on the hard floor, you go inside, there's always a lack. I'm always the one playing with a bunch of men. And it gets you better. It brings the competitive nature out of you. It separates you from the competition for sure. But that's a little frustrating when you can't really find, people who are similar to you, to play against, to compete against. It's nothing like that bunch that you could get with every 2-3 days, every weekend, just to play ball. And that's like the most important thing when you're, trying to get your skills together and you want to build a culture. So definitely as a player, I always noticed the lack of like females in the sport of basketball. But it totally wiped out becoming a coach. Like I never thought. I guess it's something I didn't fully analyze on, fully think about that. Like that would be an issue we would come across coming our first year.
Right, and a big thing for me is that I noticed that a lot of women, young ladies, are very shy. Like they are so. Especially the ones that got the potential, you really gotta push them to their limit and actually say, come out, participate, join. Let me see what you got, because like the Queen of the Gala mentioned, is that when you go to the park, there's no women basketball, so it really shies the females away from the actual sport itself, because men are, boys are aggressive. They love to, compete. And when you're the only girl that shows up, it makes it kind of unfair. Like you don't have no real advantage because it's either your brother makes you stronger or someone in the family. But when you going out with friends, and then you have to worry about the outside noise, as in they're calling you a tomboy and bringing your insecurity down.
That is a big part.
Yeah, I feel like that was a real hard.
Is still.
Yes, it is something that we are pushing as coaches when it comes to be yourself, be comfortable. It's important to actually enhance that competitive nature, because competition is anything you do in life, and that's what we strive for in the ladies, and to tell them it's okay to compete, and it's okay to be aggressive.
It's okay to be different. Like a lot of guys would always be like, oh no, I don't want to play. I want to play her soft. I'm not gonna play real defense on her. And I dealt with those issues too, but forget it. Ball on them. That's my attitude. Ball on them. Gain your respect, right? That's what it is. And a lot of our women, we shy away from that. But that's what we're here for, right? To advocate for everything we've experienced, to see a change in it.
Right. And we will be doing a lot of that in the off season. We will be showing all of that, documenting all of that. But this is the journey. And if you're trying to get into the women's space, being a coach and advocate for the women basketball, these are going to be a couple of challenges you might face in the area. Now, some areas are different. We are in the Florida area, and with all the teams that we face, there are better teams than others, but it's not that much togetherness, and it's always that one player that stands out of the team that really, balls out. But is really trying to impact that and grow that. But in order to do that, you must build a culture first. And once you build that culture, you definitely move into some momentum of getting somewhere else.
Yeah, but I do feel like that one thing is that if you want to be in this space and you do have the passion for helping, women's basketball in general, you're already ahead of the game when it comes to being one of the few coaches who are willing to put the time in to train, develop, enhance, and teach the game. Teach the game, because the game doesn't come natural to most women, and I do feel like that on the women's side, you do have to enhance a lot and you do have to teach a lot, only for the simple fact of the lack of experience that the girls have when it comes to not wanting to go play outside with the boys, like we just mentioned. Not wanting to, all the shyness and not really asking the questions, being curious. And, those small little things play such a big role in the success that you can have as a female basketball player. But coaches do play a big part, as we realize this season.
Yes, and we're going to get right into what was our experience like having to develop and train and all of that, and what it actually takes in the crack of everything, on what it takes when it comes to the practices and everything, right when we start in part 2. Alright, so now we're in the part where coaches are, you want to be a coach, you want to get into space, you know that there's a lack when it comes to participation, and you trying to get these girls to be motivated to play. So now you got a bunch of girls in, and you realize, like, man, there is a lack of skill, there's a lack of knowledge, there's a lack of experience when it comes to the basketball culture, because they've been so much pushed away and outside of playing because of the stigma of she's not aggressive, or is lack of players already, so she's uncomfortable. So now that she sees a bunch of girls in the gym or wherever you are practicing with them, you got to start off with patience. I feel like that's the biggest one, is you got to be patient with who you're working with, because these girls, even though they might be in high school, they might be starting on the first grade level of basketball, because they never touched the basketball, never seen basketball, never watched basketball. So it's like you got to start off with the fundamentals of basketball, even if they are skilled, because it could be one skilled on the team dealing with 4 other girls that's never played. So you got to break it down even to them, because so they can learn how to play with others.
Right. I feel like our first year experience, we started off in September with one girl, and
the season started.
Right before the season started, which was November 15th, we ended up having 7 girls who joined, and none of them had experience of basketball. Only one played, but her coach was literally shoot free throws and just run the whole practice, and then we're not going to teach, we're not going to implement, just be ready for the game, do whatever in the game. So that's no real experience there, right? That kind of ruins the fun and ruins the excitement of everything. So what we dealt with was first trying to come in as a coach. Originally we're trainers, so we're trying to come in as a coach, see where we'll fit in there. But eventually we realized our girls don't know how to play. Like you can't coach if they're not correctly taught how to play, so we had to scratch out the coaching and just start training them to better prepare us for next season. Because we already know this season is just a base. It's a learning experience for us to see what to expect the following season. But mid-season, we're already thinking of preparing ourselves for the following season. So if you're looking to be a women's basketball coach, I do feel like it's super important to have the patience, to have the passion, to really take your time to help someone, to want to go out your way to help someone, because you're going to need it.
Right. And I want you guys to understand that training and coaching are 2 separate things. Let me give you the breakdown. Training is developing and actually enhancing skill. Okay, we're only talking about dribbling, passing, shooting, footwork.
Whatever.
Those are skills within the game, and you're enhancing and developing those skills to interpret into the game.
Right.
Now, coaching is a 2-3. actually getting into offense,
Zone defense, offenses,
yes, actually,
IQ.
guard, shooting guard, point guard, like all of those like different type of positions, knowing like who to put in, who to take out. Those little things are coaching and analyzing who's gonna give me my rebounds, who's gonna give me my assists, who's gonna give me my points. Those aspects in putting a team together is coaching. So when you try to put those two together, it doesn't mix, because during the season, you're not really, I mean, yes, you're still doing some shooting and dribbling stuff to keep enhancing skill, but you're not focused on that. You're focusing on what we got to do and how can we prepare to go against the next competition. So you have to understand, in the off season, training and developing is always the number one thing to do. And then as you get closer to the season, then you start developing, okay, who do I want my point guard to be? Who I want my shooter? How can I put this team together to work together to emphasize and build that chemistry amongst each other? I feel like once you have done what we was just mentioning, as in the training, you did the skill development part, you did the training, now you're actually doing the coaching, and now you're getting into good playing against a team. Once you've done the training, you already ahead of the game in the women's basketball space. For me, like, I feel like personally, there's a lot of, once you finish your season, you're done. I mean, some teams, and I have talked to multiple coaches, and they were mentioning that they have been training all summer, or they've been training outside.
But it's not even real
season.
Work. Because you can tell by the way that they play, the way the competition is, that they've been saying they've been training or whatever it is for the past year, but you don't see it. There's so much to be developed. It's like there's no way possible, if you've been training for a year plus with your girls the whole off season, that there's no development in the smallest things like passing.
Right. Because
like, it's impossible.
Yes, that's another thing. It's a lack of teaching correctly, teaching the right way, emphasizing and going out your way. As a coach, you must sacrifice a lot of time to understand and learn how the game is going so you can implement that towards your athletes. And I feel like a lot of coaches do not put in that extra time to learn new things, new strategies, new ways to actually implement that onto the athletes, because when they come into competition, yes, the fundamentals don't change, but the way you play changes. And when they play, it looks like they only worked on one skill, as in the dribbling aspect, or as in lay up the ball. But everything else is like, man, there's a big lack in that. So when you have a whole team that you actually took the time to develop and build the correct way, you will blow out teams easily, because you have worked with everybody on every different skill level, and you have developed them to how to work together, which I feel like is not really done in the women's basketball space.
No, it's not. I mean, due to the lack of trainers, lack of coaches willing to contribute and take the time out to put in that work, or forget that, who's passionate about helping the women's basketball industry take a rise for once. It's like, that's where the lack of competition comes from, because of the girls not getting the help they need, the attention they deserve. That's where we get the lack of competition, and we go against teams that have one player that can beat a whole team, because that one player is super well rounded, and you got on the opposite team, everybody's inexperienced. No matter how inexperienced you are, that will play against you when it comes to trying to be a well-rounded team or player. Being a well-rounded player in general is already a stepping stone. You're already ahead of the competition. So if you can do all the fundamental things in basketball, plus you have an IQ package, I feel like a coach that has helped, or a trainer that has helped you reach that, is like gold, worth everything, because that's not found. That is not found in the women's space.
Right. And that also goes back to the lack of playing. And a lot of women, we're going right back to the beginning. A lot of ladies, since they don't go to the court and play basketball, it really puts a lot of stress on having a good coach to actually teach them what it takes to play and how to play, so that once you do it, it's all about reps. When the more reps you put in, the more you're going to get out of what you're learning with your coach and with your team in general.
Overall, though, I feel like we did touch a little bit on all the points. Well, a few of the points that pertains to what it's like being a women's basketball coach. But I do want to talk about like the positive side of things. There are a lot of women who are rising in sports right now. Like there are more brands that are reaching out to women to give them deals. You know, there are more sponsorships. You know, all these little things that people are contributing more to. There's women with their own sneakers. For example, Brianna Stewart with Puma. I love that. Like you could tell like there's a change, there's a difference. I do feel like it's gonna take time because of course, for example, the WNBA is not as old, nowhere near as old as the NBA. Right. So it is gonna take time for things to really change and for more people to feed into the system and get onto the wave. But I do feel like there is a lot of potential for not just high school girls basketball, but women's basketball in general to become something different within the next 5 to 10 years.
Right, and I feel like there's just so you know that I know you know all the big names, you know, when it comes to the women's basketball space, if you are affiliated with the women's basketball space. But I just want you to know that the reason why the hype is so more to the men's basketball, because a lot of people support it. A lot of people come out and they're eager to watch those rivalries and love to see how intense the game can be.
The competition, the competitiveness.
Right. And all we're saying is that the reason why the rise in sports is going to come with women is because more people are starting to see the competitive nature out of the women. And they're seeing those rivalries. And they're seeing the women getting better in the space and being in showing a different culture. And more of that is going to trickle down year by year as women get better, as women start to see, wow, I can do more than actually the men can do. I can do things different that the men don't provide, you know. It's going to make it more fun to watch. And if you didn't watch the finals of the WNBA, that was a sellout crowd. It was crazy. And that whole series was amazing. So I feel like it is growing. I'm really happy to be a part of the development of the women basketball culture, and it's just this is the beginning of the journey. If you guys love anything about the women's culture, please let us know in the comment section down below. We would love to hear your thoughts and how you feel about it, where you feel like it's going. If you need to get more into it, let us know. I am truly going to read all of that and, you know, develop and see how I could enhance that as well. If you guys have any advice for us. But anything else like that?
That's it, man. If you support women's basketball, comment down below. If you're a coach, please don't forget to follow us on social media at Gala Training, so we can network, keep up with each other. We'll be super excited to do that always. No matter where you're from, we're down here in Miami. So please let us know about that. If you have any suggestions on any content you want to see from us, because we do have 1 year under our belt now. So if you are new here, please don't forget to make sure to like, comment, subscribe to be post notified every single time we post. If you like this content, give it a thumbs up. We appreciate you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.